They named Wendi specifically, and they said they could see how a jury could find her guilty.
We've got to protect Wendi. When I spoke to Dad, he said the last thing we want to do is aggravate Wendi.
I don't want to scare her.
She heard this, she would be beside herself.
Absolutely.
If Wendi will lie to her own mother, that seriously undermines her credibility. If her mother can't trust her, how can anyone?
This is probably one of their theories, is that someone in our family paid for something to be done.
Bingo! Oh!
It was unthinkable, throwing her beloved daughter under the bus. And yet it happened.
This is Lawyer Lee. She's one of the top law tubers on YouTube, and she's going to tell us how old Donna Sue threw Wendi under the bus. Let's watch.
For 11 years and multiple trials, Wendi Adelson has danced just out of reach in the Dan Markel murder case. She testified against Katie McBanawa, accused of hiring the hitman. Wendi wasn't arrested. Wendi testified against her own brother, Charlie, cool as a cucumber. Yet she was not arrested. But everything changed in the Donna Adelson trial when Wendi testified against her own mother. This time, Wendi's own mother came for her.
Luis Rivera then puts this number 2 next to Sigfredo Garcia because he's the one who actually killed Danny Markel. Number 3 next to himself because he's the one who got the gun and drove the car to kill Danny Markel.
During the deposition of King Tato, Donna Sue's attorneys asked him to number the people that were involved in murdering Dan Markel. If you look here, old Wendi Jill is ranked at number 5, but Donna Sue and Harvey both have X's next to them, indicating that King Tato thought they had nothing to do with the murder.
This is the man that he says they killed. Who else on this document do you recognize? Who else was involved in this? All the players that the state claims are involved are pictured on this document. And he says, Wendi Adelson, she's the lady who wanted to get her kids back. This is why we were committing the crime. Wendi Adelson. The dentist, he called him, which is Charlie Adelson, who he identified, was the one with Katie. This one and this one are the reasons that they're coming to Tallahassee to kill Dan Markel. This one.
It was hard to see from the mental lawyer's camera view who she was pointing to, but we were able to determine that was Wendi Jill, whom the attorney was pointing to, and then old Charlie Boy.
This one and this one are the reasons that they're coming to Tallahassee to kill Dan Markel. And I said, well, what about Donna Adelson or Harvey Adelson? No, they weren't involved. I said, would you put an X next to them if they weren't involved? And he did. Donna Adelson's name never came up, but Luis Rivera is telling the truth.
It's never a good sign when your attorney's suit jacket doesn't fit properly.
According to the state. That's who you're supposed to believe, and he says my client is not involved.
It's almost like they were afraid to say that they're going to break your leg. Like, they can't do that because once they do that, they're going to cross lines that they themselves can't cross.
This was a wiretap call between Charlie Boy and Donna. What's new on it is they both admitted they wanted to protect Wendi Jill. Let's find out why.
I just hope they don't go and bother Wendi.
If they do, I mean, listen, they've bothered us enough. If they bother any more, they're not far from just going to the police. I mean, Wendi will go to the police too.
When I spoke to Dad, he said we don't say anything because the last thing we want to do is aggravate Wendi.
Well, I don't want her. I don't want to scare her.
I don't either.
She was scared from day one. She's finally over being scared.
If she heard this, she would be beside herself.
Absolutely. And you know what the thing is, this, Mom, is that everybody handles every situation differently. Somebody has a death in the family, and they don't act devastated and everything else. Well, does it mean that were responsible for it? No. It means everybody handles tragedy differently.
Because that's what, my original feeling was to go to the police, but Dad said, we've got to protect Wendi.
I don't want Wendi to then get stressed and now then worry about her safety.
Right, exactly. That's why we'll keep it from her. I don't want her to be upset. And hopefully whatever this is will just stop.
I called Katie and I said to her, listen, I said, she told me she had somebody call. The voicemail wasn't set up before.
If you listen closely, you hear Donna Sue telling Charlie she doesn't want this to happen again, and now Charlie's going to tell us how he's going to handle the problem.
And then she called a couple times, actually. She blocked her number, she called a couple times, and then the voicemail was set up, and it was in Spanish. She has a friend of hers. I think it was a guy that she had call him. I think the guy was not very happy and let the person know it on their voicemail. basically told them on their voicemail, you need to stop running your mouth or you're going to be having a very, 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 very big problem.
Translation, Mommy, I know someone that can physically handle this problem for you.
And asked that person to give them a call. Supposedly her friend was very angry, very, very angry. The voicemail was in Spanish, so the person spoke to him in Spanish and basically told the person what they got coming to them and to call them back if they need to have a little word with them. I don't want to scare Wendi. If they do approach her, then at that point, just go to the police.
Go to the police and that's it. Okay.
I tell you find that interesting.
Yeah.
You find it a little interesting or not really?
Oh, yeah.
This is probably one of their theories, is that someone in our family paid for something to be done.
Bingo! Oh!
Right? So if they paid, it would make sense that someone's coming back for more money. If they go to Wendi, it defeats the purpose of not stressing her out, and then she'll be the first one to go to the FBI. Did you already get a massage tonight?
They named Wendi specifically in closing argument, and they said they could see how a jury could find her guilty.
You have been sitting here hearing testimony for almost 2 weeks, and there's not a single piece of evidence that connects my client to that murder.
Their own star witness testified that my phone was never, I repeat, never at my son's house on the night of the murder.
Is there evidence in the phone records that Donna Adelson went to Charlie Adelson's home on the night of Dan Markel's murder?
Communication from Miss Donna Adelson at 8:59 p.m. stating outside your house.
Outside your house, and she's sending that message to Charlie Adelson, is that right?
Correct.
Charlie Adelson? Yep. Potentially Wendi Adelson? She's the one who said she hated him. She's the one fighting with him in court. Donna Adelson? Nothing.
Outside your house, and she's sending that message to Charlie Adelson, is that right?
Correct.
Not a single piece of evidence. You have to find her not guilty.
The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder.
Because they have failed to do their job. They cannot prove she had him killed. At the time that he was killed, she had paid anybody or asked anybody to do it.
The only reason Donna continued to push for relocation and wrote all those controversial emails was because she thought Wendi wanted out, and Wendi never bothered to tell her the truth.
Have Charlie Adelson and Wendi Adelson been honest with their mother? The evidence says no, because the whole time Wendi Adelson is telling her mother, she's telling her mother that relocation is what she wants. She's the one who starts that. She's the one who asks her lawyer about it. The whole time in the spring leading up to this hearing, Wendi Adelson admitted in her testimony she's sending these messages to her life coach and telling her life coach, I think I want to stay in Tallahassee. But she didn't bother to tell her mother that. Her mother still thinks she's trying to get relocation. And then she writes to her again in May. I think I'm going to give up relocation. I can stay in Tallahassee. The kids will be close to their boys. There won't be any plane rides. And I like my job. It gives me all this flexibility.
I wonder why Wendi had such a change of heart.
I'm going to stay. But she still doesn't tell her mother. She has her mother believing we got to fight for this relocation. Well, she's venting to her mother about what she claims Danny Markel is doing. And she's venting to her mother about what she wants to accomplish. Only she's not being honest with her. On the backside, she's making other plans.
Those of you that have never met a Jew before may not understand, but one of the hardest things for a kid of a Jewish mother to do is tell her the truth.
It'd have been nice for my client, Donna Adelson, to know that, because these emails that have been submitted here, which are proof that she wanted to have Danny Markel killed, would not have been written. And when she goes to her hearing on the relocation, she has her mother stay outside. Her mother can't hear what's going on in the hearing. And then after the judge made the comment, she gave up. She could have continued with the hearing and put her witnesses on. The judge could have ruled against her, and then maybe she has an appellate issue.
The final court hearing before Dan Markel was killed involved the relocation of Wendi Jill and her kids from Tallahassee to Miami. There was a hearing. Old Donna Sue attended with Hari. They were both waiting outside. The judge then posed to Wendi, do you want to settle this case without me giving you a decision? And it turned out Wendi Jill agreed to stay in Tallahassee.
She gave up because she didn't want it anymore. But she didn't tell her mother that. You took a trip out of town with a gentleman named Miguel. You recall that?
I don't recall the trip, but I was seeing Miguel at the time.
Wendi Jill testified that she was dating a brown lover during the time of that relocation hearing.
Can you tell me where we went?
Yes, ma'am.
If I know my brown brothers, she went right to that bedroom.
I'm gonna get that.
Okay.
Puerto Rico, does that sound familiar?
It was a clinical law professor conference. There's one every year, and that year it was in Puerto Rico.
Okay. And did you speak at that, or you were there to get credit hours? Or
Oh, she spoke all right, along with yelling and screaming.
No, I spoke.
Woo, I seen that look before. That's the look of a Jewish mother who found out her daughter was not only dating a non-Jew, but he was Puerto Rican.
And that's to Renee.
Yes.
And you're coming back from your trip to Puerto Rico.
Renee was Wendi Jill's life coach, and she was receiving emails from Wendi with regard to what she wanted to do in this particular hearing.
Yes.
And while you were on this trip, your parents were taking care of the boys, correct?
Yes.
So this entire email is really about changes you want to make in your life, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The last bullet point down at the bottom, it says, I've been coming to a place in the last few months where I have realized that I want to keep my job. It allows me the maximum amount of flexibility to spend with my kids while allowing the freedom for intellectual exploration, one-on-one mentoring with students, and meaningful work in the community. I don't care that Jibbers told my colleagues that I stole from him and that I am mentally ill. Nasty things are said in divorce, and people know that. Tallahassee isn't ever where I wanted to live, but it's where the job is.
And it's also where her Latino lover is, and that's the real reason she wants to stay.
And it's where my boy's father is, which means they don't have to constantly be flying on planes or driving in cars to accomplish our custody situation. So you have the pending petition and motion for relocation, but as of April the 28th, you're starting to think maybe staying in Tallahassee is the right thing to do, correct?
Yes.
And that's the power of sweet Latino love.
When she told her mother, well, this is how the judges ruled, the mother understood that through the court system it was done, but not with her daughter, Wendi.
At that court hearing, Wendi Jill agreed to stay in Tallahassee. The judge did not make that decision. Wendi Jill agreed to it. Therefore, she could not appeal it. However, she could not and did not tell Donna Sue that she agreed to it, so Donna thought, hey, maybe we can appeal it or something else.
Because you can continue to negotiate all the way through a final judgment. And that's what those emails say. They do suggest some crazy stuff. Things that you could do, like tell Danny you're going to raise them as Catholics, you're going to have them baptized as...
And look who's sitting in the audience. It's Merv, old Dennis Murphy from Dateline.
As Catholics, all of those suggestions she was making, correct?
Yes.
She wasn't actually suggesting you do it. She was wanting you to use that as a means of negotiating with Danny, right?
That's my understanding.
But she puts in there, we're trying to negotiate. She doesn't know when she's writing those crazy emails that there's no reason to write them because her daughter agreed. You know, you can have a dismissal on an issue. You can have a denial on an issue. She agreed to it with prejudice, which means it is over.
Because it was Wendi Jill that agreed to not relocating the kids, there was no way to appeal it. However, like we said before, she just couldn't tell Donna Sue that.
She already made an agreement. She's not going to seek relocation anymore. So my client is hanging out there trying to support her daughter, and now she's sitting in a court of law charged with murder because of what she wrote in emails.
Of course, if Wendi will lie to her own mother, that seriously undermines her credibility. If her mother can't trust her, how can anyone? And again, there was no reason to make this argument. It doesn't help Donna. If anything, it suggests that Donna might have hired hitmen by mistake.
My son Devin loves Lawyer Lee, and he's always telling me how great she is compared to me because she looks good and she has books which apparently she reads. However, based upon her accent, I don't know how much exposure she has to a Jewish mother, nor do I think she realizes how much power a Jewish mother has over her children. And like Lawyer Lee said, it appears now Donna Sue ordered this hit without knowing that her daughter didn't even want to leave Tallahassee because she was getting some new sweet Latino love. I taught those of you that never experienced a Jewish mother how powerful she is. But there's one lesson that I tell you about each and every time we meet. You don't fuck with Donna Sue Adelson.
Look how close we are to the shore. This is amazing.
I know, right?
What a rush.
Dear Wendi, last night was dope. Love, Tyrone.